A Step into the Past Volume 15 Chapter 12. Book 15 Chapter 12, The Revival of Prestige. The events that unfolded after the recovery of the Dian King's mansion totally exceeded the expectations of Xiang Xiaolong and the rest. The first to arrive and congratulate them was Lord Chun Shen, followed by the maids, servants, and warriors of the Dian King's mansion who had been recently expelled. They were then followed by the representatives and even kings of each vassal state who had come for King Xiaolai's funeral, the envoys of each of the eastern states, and finally the famous generals and chancellors who had esteemed the Zhuang family all along. This kept Madame Zhuang and Xiang Xiaolong busy with incessant receptions and parties. At dusk, the Empress Dowager Li Yunyan summoned Madame Zhuang and Zhuang Beiyi, but did not include Xiang Xiaolong. Xiang Xiaolong knew that he had been successful in raising the power and prestige of the Zhuang family. With ease of mind, he left Madame Zhuang the mother and son under the escort of Lord Chun Shen to enter the palace for the meeting with Li Yunyan and her 2-plus-year-old crown prince. Fortunately, the two Yu sisters remained to receive and entertain the guests, reducing the chances for a slip-up on his part. As they were beginning to get dizzy and confused with the volume of guests, a servant announced, "Lord Longyang from Wei seeks an audience." Xiang Xiaolong was delighted and after exhorting the Yu sisters to continue entertaining the other guests, instructed the servant to usher Lord Longyang into the inner hall. Lord Longyang was puzzled at this arrangement and could only stare blankly on seeing Xiang Xiaolong once he arrived inside. Xiang Xiaolong rose from his seat and welcomed him, saying, "This time I have fooled you again." Lord Longyang could not believe it and widened his graceful eyes, and in a small voice said, "Xiang Xiaolong." Xiang Xiaolong pulled him to a seat in a corner and laughed, saying, "Who else could it be?" Lord Longyang delightedly said, "You know that Tiandan has arrived here." Xiang Xiaolong smiled and nodded. Lord Longyang sighed and said, "You have the ability to know everything about heaven and earth. The last time it was Dong Horse Fanatic, now it is Wan Ruguang. You've caused me to be worried for you. When I arrived here 3 days ago to discover Tiandan flaunting himself spiritedly, I thought you had been killed by him." Xiang Xiaolong then explained everything, not knowing why he trusts this boyfriend wholeheartedly. Lord Longyang is finally aware of Tiandan's escape using a body double. In a flash of realization, he said, "No wonder the Lu brothers, Dan Chu, and the others have all disappeared. I must say, though, you can be proud of yourself, having caused him to be so frightened as to slip away so ignominiously." Xiang Xiaolong asked, "Is the Lord here to attend King Xiaolai's funeral?" Lord Longyang replied, "Of course it is so on the surface, but in reality I hope to wrest the Chu people from Tiandan's hands. We now know that Tiandan, Li Yuan, and Lu Bue have made a secret pact to divide the whole world between themselves." Xiang Xiaolong said, "If the Lord helps me to kill Tiandan, wouldn't it solve all problems?" Lord Longyang thought that this was reasonable, and nodding, he said, "If you can restore the crown prince of Dian to his throne, you will teach the Chu people to think twice about having malicious intents. Though the situation is so complicated, eventually we will still need to deal with your Qin state, isn't this a great contradiction?" Xiang Xiaolong replied, "That is a problem for the future. If we do not deal with Lu Bue's plot, we will face immediate catastrophe. Therefore killing Tiandan will definitely be beneficial for you and for me." Lord Longyang forced a bitter smile and said, "I am afraid that under heaven, there is only one Xiang Xiaolong that I cannot refuse. Soon you will be seeing a lot of old friends too." Xiang Xiaolong said, "That's got to be Han Chuang, right?" Lord Longyang said, "This person Han Chuang is not very reliable, it's better not to reveal yourself to him, else he might betray you under certain circumstances." Xiang Xiaolong then asked about Zhao Yi. Lord Longyang said, "She has already followed your family members back to Xianyang. The crown prince has expended a lot of effort to do this because all along, Han Jing was not willing to let her go. Once women get jealous, they disregard the bigger picture." This was a big weight off Xiang Xiaolong's mind. Following up, he asked, who else is here from each country? Lord Longyang counted on his fingers and replied, from Zhao, it is Guo Kai. This guy is now highly favored. With him messing around, I think Lian Po will soon lose his position. Xiang Xiaolong knew that for him to be so certain, there must have been some affair behind in his words. He couldn't help but give a gloomy sigh, but his hands were tied. Lord Longyang continued, from Wei, it should be Prince Dan. Nonetheless, it is certainly odd that to date there has been no news of him. Xiang Xiaolong was also unable to figure this out. If Prince Dan's men had sent news using swift horses from the Wei border to Shaochun, they would have arrived 70 days before he did. There was no reason for the lack of news. All the envoys had to make official correspondence before arriving. If there was as yet no news of Prince Dan, it was possible that he would not be able to arrive in time for the funeral in half a month. Xiang Xiaolong asked, did Qin send anyone? Lord Longyang replied, Qin has always had a close relationship with Chu, not to mention that it was a rare time of peace, of course they will send someone. The odd thing, however, is that the person sent is not Liu Buwei, but Premier Su Xian. Xiang Xiaolong's heart was jolted, with a faint feeling of unease. Lord Longyang was astounded and said, is there any problem? Why did Xiaolong's expression turn so ugly? Xiang Xiaolong replied, I do not yet know what is the problem. Could the Lord do me a favor? Find out which route Su Xian is taking to Shaochun. This is an urgent matter. Lord Longyang understood immediately and his color began to change, saying, I will dispatch people to do this immediately. If they are passing through my great way, I will send soldiers to protect him. Humph! This could be a plot to implicate my great way. Xiang Xiaolong hadn't thought of this point. It did not matter whether Su Xian chose to go through Han or Wei, if Liu Buwei caused him to be assassinated in either country, a tempest would ensue. Liu Buwei could then send the army to attack Han or Wei. He did not think that Liu Buwei would remain so formidable after Moao died. Both men no longer had the mood to talk, and Lord Longyang left in a hurry. It was dark by the time they had sent off all the guests. Xiang Xiaolong was so hungry that his stomach growled and he hurriedly returned to the courtyard of his residence. The two ladies Ji and Zhao had just had a bath and were waiting for him to come in for dinner. The Dian King's mansion was medium-sized and composed of a master house with 6 courtyard houses surrounded by high walls. Each courtyard house was composed of houses in a square with a courtyard in the middle. It was an inward-looking design, with practically all doors and windows opening into the courtyard. There were trees planted all over the houses such that even though the hot summer was approaching, it was still very cool and shady. The exits were all designed to face south, and the houses were symmetrical left and right with an obvious central axis. The main buildings faced the main entrance, with wings left and right. Xiang Xiaolong and the guardians occupied 2 of the courtyard houses. The place was spacious and wide yet cozy and snug and gave one the feeling of having returned home. After Xiang Xiaolong had had his fill, he heaved a sigh and started relating his conversation with Lord Longyang and his worries about Su Xian. After listening, Ji Yanran was speechless. Zhao Ji said, Premier Su is one of Western Qin's 2 big tiger generals. He should be able to defend himself. Ji Yanran said, the most worrisome thing is if there are Liu Buwei's spies amongst his men. Premier Su will least expect the attackers to be soldiers that Li Yuan has hidden on the borders of Han and Wei. That is a dangerous situation. She knitted her eyebrows again, saying, although Qin and Chu have a close relationship, sending someone from the king's clan would have been more appropriate. There has got to be a reason for this. Xiang Xiaolong said, it is easy to find some political pretext like having to sign a peace treaty with Chu to force Su Xian to come. Even though the Empress Dowager's dissatisfaction with Liu Buwei is increasing steadily, it is difficult to rely on this discredited person to do anything. This is because the Qin military has always looked down on this Empress Dowager. Ji Yanran has the utmost respect for Su Xian, and worriedly sighed, saying, at this point we can only resign ourselves to heaven's will. At this moment, Zhuang Kong came over with an invitation, saying that Madame Zhuang had returned and would like to speak to him in person. Xiang Xiaolong could only control his feelings and follow Zhuang Kong out. Madame Zhuang is wearing a swallowtail coat. The long coat tail of the garment is cut in a triangular shape and folded over, simulating a swallow's tail, hence its name. She is reclining on a couch beside a louvered window at the central courtyard. She was in high spirits as she watched Xiang Xiaolong enter. Her fine hair was drawn in a weighted bun and fastened with a golden hairpin which shimmered under the lamplight, accentuating her grandeur, grace, and allure. Her waist was girded with a strand of distinctly shaped jade ornaments, increasing the magnificence and prosperity befitting her status as a noble woman. After Zhuang Kong left, Madame Zhuang stood up and moved in front of Xiang Xiaolong's. Smiling sweetly, she said, "Your servant came back a long time ago, but wanted to take a bath and change her clothes before meeting you. Can you smell the bath fragrance on my body?" Saying that, she proudly stuck out her silky bosom. Xiang Xiaolong figured that the women from the two clan of Southern Dian were especially liberal, straightforwardly and brazenly luring men. He also figured, though, that this was also her way of thanking him. He laughed faintly, seeing Madame's demeanor. "One can tell that this trip to the Chu Palace reaped a good result. Is your servant wrong?" Madame Zhuang raised her pair of jade-like hands and pressed them against the pit of her stomach, and smiling enchantingly, said, "Xiaolong, your pulse is racing." As Xiang Xiaolong was beginning to feel embarrassed, Madame Zhuang released her hands and glided towards the window in a movingly graceful and delicate step. With her back to him, she gazed at the moonlit courtyard, and gently said, "Xiang Xiaolong truly enjoys a well-deserved reputation. With just one dazzling move, you have shaken the entire Shaochun. Now nobody dares to look down on us few stateless women and children. All the vassal states have made clear their position, supporting our return to our country. The only obstacle is actually the Chu court." Xiang Xiaolong had to make a move in the 5 steps it took for him to walk behind her. He asked, "How was Li Yanyan's attitude towards you?" Madame Zhuang replied, "I assumed initially that Li Yanyan would be a very formidable person, but besides being beyond my expectations, she merely came across as a gentle and emotional person, even hinting at some unspeakable grief and sadness. She is of course a rare beauty, even being comparable with your talented Lady Ji. What surprised me the most, though, was that she was closer to Lord Chun Shen than Li Yuan. This is truly difficult to understand." Xiang Xiaolong was dazed as he heard this. Could Li Yanyan be such a pitiful character? Madame Zhuang turned around and leaned against the window. The corners of her mouth broke into an enchanting smile, with the tips of her eyebrows and the corners of her eyes exuding limitless charm. With both shoulders rising lightly, she said, "Li Yuan and Lord Chun Shen are both interested in your servant's body. What should your servant do?" Xiang Xiaolong forced a smile and said, "What does Madame want me to say?" Madame Zhuang laughed in distress, saying, "I have seen the likes of such men countless times. If your servant had not fallen for you, in order to secure their support, she would not have been miserly with her body. Now instead, she feels like seeking your opinion first. Under heaven, there is no one else able to gain your servant's confidence." As Xiang Xiaolong was considering whether she was trying to confuse him, Madame Zhuang took a step toward him and pasted her body into his bosom and embraced his waist with all her strength, her pert face buried in his broad shoulders. She moaned, "Embrace me, okay? I need a big strong man to support me." He would be lying if he said he wasn't moved under such a circumstance, when such a noble, lovable, and charming rarity threw herself into his arms. Xiang Xiaolong could not help but embrace her firmly and caressing her well-rounded and elastic back muscles, gently said, "Madame does not need to do this. Even if we do not have a physical relationship, I, Xiang Xiaolong, will never break a promise. I am determined to help the young crown prince ascend the throne." Madame Zhuang looked up and smiled sweetly, saying, "Do you think your servant treats you like other men?" "No. You are wrong. I saw you in a dream last night. Ai. It's a pity that our fling of passion will have to end once my son ascends the throne. When I think of this I can't help feeling that there is no more joy in this life. She suddenly left his embrace and pulled him to a seat beside her. Her expression turned solemn and she said, Li Yunyan has verified the legitimacy of me and my son's status, but Li Yuan is using the excuse of pressure from a strong Qin to avoid sending troops to assist us mother and son. I do not know if Lord Chun Shen is afraid of offending the Li clan, but he is vague and indecisive. Every other party's verbal support is just that. They are unlikely to lend substantial assistance. Our fate hence lies in Xiaolong's hands. To comfort her, Xiaolong softly said, I have a large and powerful army at the Qin-Chu border. At the appropriate time they can dress up as Dian people and invade the Dian capital. If I manage to kill Tiandan, though, I will need to slip away immediately, else it will be difficult for me to leave Shaochun. At this point, the only way for Li Yuan to deal with you is to keep you under house arrest in the Chu capital. This way, he will also be able to play with your body, killing two birds with one stone. Madame Zhuang's countenance changed, saying, I haven't considered this problem. Xiang Xiaolong couldn't help hugging her shoulders, and softly said, the most critical thing for you to do now is to look like a damsel in distress. Might as well play along with Li Yuan and Lord Chun Shen, pretending that you will be helpless if the Chu court does not send troops. You will be able to fool everyone this way. Madame Zhuang nibbled her lip and said, Are you suggesting that I should sacrifice my body? I was originally set on this course of action, but with you around, I no longer feel like doing it. Xiang Xiaolong discerned that her feelings for him were genuine, and since he is used to philandering, couldn't help but kiss her cheek, gently saying, What is easily obtained is not treasured. You must be ambiguous with those who have designs on you, periodically leading them on and periodically resisting them. By the time their passions boil over, we would have left the Chu capital long ago. If I cannot kill Tiandan before the Chu king's funeral, I will have no choice but to give up and wholeheartedly help you return to your country. Madame Zhuang had an intoxicated expression, and said in a muffled voice, The more I interact with you, the more I realize how fearsome and formidable you are. Yet you are also a passionate and righteous hero. This is such a contradiction. Xiaolong ah! I have fallen into your hands so easily, do you despise me? Xiang Xiaolong thought, I have yet to enter the room and mount the couch, how does this count as falling into my hands? Of course he could not actually say that, and so he softly said, Before the crown prince returns home, we cannot have a physical relationship. That will cause us to wallow in an ocean of lust, causing us to neglect the important matters. We must endure hardship to accomplish our ambitions. Only by working assiduously and wedding ourselves, can we succeed in this great cause. Madame Zhuang almost moaned, You have beautiful women in your house, how can that be called enduring hardship? Using this to describe me is just about right. Xiaolong ah! Wu! Xiang Xiaolong gave her fragrant lips a lingering kiss, saying, If a woman is sexually satisfied, she will show it in her expression, and philandering old hands like Li Yuan and Lord Chun Shen are sure to notice. It will then be hard for Madame to play her tricks with them. This is an extremely subtle matter. Madame must listen to what I say. Madame Zhuang came to her senses, straightened her body and said, Your servant understands, but please do not forget your promise. When the matter of returning to our country is accomplished, I will not let you go. Xiang Xiaolong gave her another lingering kiss, then left for his own courtyard, intensely wishing for Ji Yanran the two ladies. Only they can appease the lust that this outstandingly foxy and amorous woman has stirred up in him. In this dangerous place where life and death hangs on a hair, he did not wish for anything to affect his grand plan, and that includes male-female relationships. If he is not able to kill Tiandan in the next 15 days, he will slip away immediately and without the slightest hesitation. As important as killing Tiandan is, it cannot compare to the lives of Ji and Zhao, the two ladies and the guardians, not to mention his family members Wu Tingfang and Xiang Baoer, and the tragic Zhao who was bitterly awaiting him at his home. It is only now that he understands the meaning of the saying heroes have it difficult.